right, welcome everybody to day 2. I'm happy to see many of you back. I didn't scare you away. I'm glad you're here for the second one. So how about we go ahead and get started right away. So the first thing we want to do is quickly review what we went over yesterday. So I will summarize. If you're here for the first time, then this is your way to get the squeeze from the last class. So the first thing was when we're going to learn through this and we're going to do math, we're not going to go to figuring out how to do algebra and how to do angles and everything. We're learning an approach to learning. So my request from you is, as you're doing this, you keep a list of things you need to learn or search up later so that we have one person. Okay. So that you can then search it up and learn it on your own. So the first thing we learned was Google search things that you don't understand and learn those on your own, because that's the value you can learn it from Google. The second thing that we did yesterday was tips on applying to colleges. So when you apply to colleges, there's a couple of things, SAT and IB, which we all focus a lot on. But I'm asking that you also know that you have to write an essay, you have to get recommendations from your teachers, and you have to do an interview with some universities. So just be aware of those and spend that time accurately. And the last one that we said was when we say thank you to somebody, like you guys said thank you to our panel yesterday, just add in a small note saying why. So really appreciated that. The other thing is we're going to be taking notes. I want you guys to take notes during this 1 month, because everything you're learning, I want you to have a good place to write it down. And the reason I'm going to walk you through taking notes is I want to sort of share with you the study practices that I used in my undergrad, in my high school and university to get me through classes. And I'm hoping, I'm just going to share them with you. You try them out. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, toss it away, do your own thing. So I'm just going to share. So to do this, if everybody can open up Google Drive actually Google Drive is best, and then you can share your Google Doc in which you put the notes with me. Great, so once your doc is open, at the top, write in your full name and your email so that I know whose doc it is. So this is sort of what I would like your doc, actually no. I'll walk you through it and then I'll show you what it should look like. So the first thing you do is start a bullet point and you write to-dos. Under to-dos, I want you to collect all of the things that you don't know or don't understand from this class that you want to look up later and put it under to-dos so that you can then visit it in the future and learn those things. So for example, if we went over the problems yesterday and if cross multiplication of two fractions is not something you know, then you write that under to-dos so that you can learn it. There's numerous resources. You just Google search it. There's YouTube, there's Khan Academy. I recommend Khan Academy, it's just amazing. So you write that under to-dos. The first thing that all of you should have under to-dos is Common App Review. Or if you're not applying to the US, if you're applying to the UK, it's UCAS. If it's in Singapore, the NUS application, the NTU application. If you're going to UCs, it's the UC application. Whatever it is, I would like you guys to review the application document for that university. I already had some emails come in, be like, how do I access this form? I love it. I love the hustle. Good job going out there and trying to find those forms on your own. It's a way to get ahead. Great, so to do, then indent, bullet, we have Common App Review or whatever application you want to review. Next bullet, you indent it back, is going to be postulates. So let me type that word out. Postulates. If you don't know what this word means, then you should put it under to do to find out what this word means and define it. But I will be nice today and define postulates. Suggest or assume the existence of a fact or truth or belief. So postulates is just a fancy word for, oh, sorry, I sent postulates to somebody else. Oops, let me send it to everybody. Postulates. Everybody should have that in chat. So postulates are the lessons that we're going to take out of this. Now in this lesson, in the postulate section, the first one should be applying for colleges and the things needed. The things needed for colleges, which is SAT, IB, essays, recommendation, interviews. The next one under postulates would be Google search something you don't understand or don't know. And the third one is say thank you with a reason. So I'm going to quickly share my screen so you guys can see what it should look like. This is what it should look like. And then we're going to put in a bullet at the end for math. Today we're going to start with math. So hopefully this looks like yours. I'm getting many, many emails, 42 emails of people sharing their docs with me. Good job. Thank you so much. Looks like everyone is on top of it. So this is what it should look like. If you don't have this, take a screenshot. I'm going to take it down in 15 seconds. All right, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I am back. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Great, so we said, I promise you we'll start math today, and that is what we're gonna do. So we are going to jump right in with a math question. And I've picked this one. You guys will love this math question, I think. Let me share it with you. Okay, so this is the math question. I will give you some time. I will give you 3 minutes to do this on your own. I realized yesterday, I'm sorry, I gave you 1 minute, which is not enough. But I was also trying to put in some artificial speed so that you guys would make mistakes and help me prove my point. So today, take your time, do this problem, and let me start the poll. If you have already answered your question, I would like you to try and reread the question and see if maybe you made a mistake and if you can solve it again. Again, if you've already answered the question, I would like you to go back, reread the question, try it again. Maybe, maybe not. Just see if you caught, maybe just proofread it. Just do it again. We're going to give you 1 more minute. Also, I ask if you don't get the answer for this question, I ask that you don't fill out the poll, please. I forgot to add in the 5th option. This poll does not, I mean, I don't see your names next to the option that you choose, so please don't guess. 30 more seconds. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. All right. I will not be sharing the results, unfortunately, but let's go through this question. You guys will find out later why I'm not sharing results. Okay, so some of you got this right, some of you got this wrong. So why don't we go through this and start? So the first thing we do is read the question. So we have if this is equal to this, if this is equal to this, for all values of x, so including 0, including infinity, negative infinity, and we know that this is true, what are the two possible values for c? So they're asking us for c, and there's two values for c. So the first thing we want to do is highlight c, right? C is what we're looking for. Not x, but c. Okay, let's go back to this. So how do we start doing this? Well, let's expand out the left-hand side. So we get a bx squared plus 2bx, 7ax plus 1, 4, right? Is that correct? Then what we want to do is we want to compare this equation to this equation up here. So we know that if we compare it, this would be 15x squared. This would come out to cx. And well, this is already 14, right? Okay, so now we have AB is equal to 1, 5, right? Because this is equivalent. So we know AB is equal to 1, 5. We also know from here that A plus B is equal to 8. Let me write this clear. And what we're looking for is C, which is equal to 2B plus 7A, right? The coefficients of this. So this is setting up the problem. We read the question and we set up the problem. So we have two equations and two variables on this side. So it's simultaneous equations. So let's go out and solve this. So we know that B is equal to 8 minus A. So we do A times 8 minus A, right, equals to 15. Wait, did I do this right? Yeah. So 8A minus A squared equals to 15. So A squared minus 8A plus 15 equals 0. Then this is a quadratic equation. If you don't know how to solve quadratic equations, Khan Academy videos are great. So the way you would go about this is you factorize the internals. So you split this into minus 5A minus 3A plus 1, 5 equals 0. So you take out A minus 5. You take out minus 3, A minus 5. Again, if you don't know how I went from here to here, please write this down in your to-do and look this up on Khan Academy later. Factorizing quadratics. This is equal 0. Then you factorize this further, and you get A minus 3 times A minus 5 equals 0. Wait, yeah, equals 0. Therefore, A equals 3, or A equals 5. Now at this point, everybody that picked A will notice that we have 3 and 5. However, notice that this is A is equal to 3 and A is equal to 5. What we're looking for is C. So this is the classic aspect of maybe either we didn't read the question properly or we jumped to an answer. So we're going to dig deeper into this, but let's keep going. We have A equals 3, A equals 5. Therefore, B is 8 minus 3, which is equal to 5, and B is equal to 8 minus 5, which is equal to 3. Okay, again, same numbers, fine. Then I go in up here and I plug in C is equal to 2 times 3 plus 7 times 5, which equals to 6 plus 35, which equals to 41. And C is equal to 2 times 5 plus 7 times 3, which is equal to 31. Sorry for the bad handwriting. I'm getting excited because we're close to the answer. 5, 7. Okay. So we have our two answers, 41 and 31. So this is the long way of doing it. We have gotten the answer. If you guys did everything here, fantastic. You are great at math. But let's just rewind a little bit. Let's go into this question a little deeper and let's see, could we have done less work? Well, do we need to solve for this? If we already got 41, if we look at the answers, there's only 141 on here. So we don't really need to solve for this. So we're going to say this is extra work. Now, let's go back. If we have A and B, which is here, we have A and B as 3 and 5. Do we need to solve for this? Oops. Well, A and B can be confusing. We have 3 and 5. We do need to solve the C. So this part is good. Let's go back even further in the stack. Do we need to start this process here? Or can we figure out what is A and B simply by looking at the system of equations here? You have AB is equal to 15 and A plus B is equal to 8. Do you need to do everything that you've done below this point? So now if you're thinking maybe I wouldn't have known this is difficult, what if the numbers are difficult? I wouldn't have known A is 3 and B is 5. Well, let me challenge that, because when you did the factorizing, which is you went from 8A to 5A minus 3A, how did you pick 5 and 3? You picked 5 and 3 over here exactly the same way as you picked 5 and 3 over here. So my argument is that you, again, don't need to do any of this. Oh, sorry. This is all extra work. You can go directly from the question up here to the solution down here. All right, now you guys ready to blow your minds? This is my favorite part of this. So we already know we don't need any of this, right? So let's cross it all out. Interesting, okay. We don't need any of this. And let's get back to here. Remember we had this setup in the beginning? This was the simple setup that we had in the beginning. Can we get the answer by just looking at this? I'll give you guys a second to think about it. Think about it. Can we get the answer just by looking at this? Well, here's what we do. We say C is equal to 2B plus 2A plus 5A. And we know that A plus B is equal to 8. Therefore, 2B plus 2A is equal to 16. So C is equal to 16 plus 5A. Now, do I care what is 5A when every single option here is below 16 except for D? Now, the one thing you have to know, if A is negative, if A is less than 1, then this logic does not stand. Now, is A less than 1? Let's find out. For A, B to equal to a positive number, A and B to equal to positive, either A is negative and B is negative, or A is positive and B is positive, right? If A is negative and B is negative, can A plus B equal to a positive number? Can a negative number plus a negative number equal to a positive number? It cannot. Therefore, A and B cannot be negative and negative. A and B have to be positive and positive. Therefore, this is true. And because this is true, we can go from here to here, and we can do 16 plus 5A. And we know both values for C will be more than 16. And the only option that gets you both values for C is more than 15 is D. All right, I would like everybody to, is there an applause thing in here? Yes, participants do an applause, because this is genius, right? This is so cool, this is fun. SAT is supposed to be fun. We just cracked this question. Not like that, cracking SAT. So I'm gonna pause here. This, probably for some of you, this was confusing. Probably for some of you, this made a lot of sense. And probably for some of you that really love math, you were like, oh my God, this was so cool. I was having a lot of fun while doing this. But my question to you is, and probably for some of you, this is what you were looking for in SAT Tutor. Now my question for you is, we went over this. How did this really impact the way that you are going to approach questions in the future? Or what did you really learn from this? Let's say we go through this, we just do this, right? This kind of tutoring. What did we really get out of this question? And you will notice that the things that we got out of this question are pretty basic. The things are, one, read the question properly, right? It's asking for, the question's asking for C, not for A and B. Two, review the options and use process of elimination as a second option, right? And the third one is try and find a faster approach to solving questions. These are the three things that we learned from this. In terms of mathematics, again, in terms of algebra, what I did was nothing new. You guys know algebra. This is nothing new information. But the things we learned is just for you to pause and think about if there's a better way to do this. And maybe for you, this is harder. That's fine. Do the old way. But I'm just asking you to spend 2-3 seconds finding the faster way. Thank you for the 13 people that applauded, by the way. I just saw that. Thank you. So I'm just asking you to find a faster way to do this. So here's the thing. We went through an entire 10 minutes or 15 minutes of doing this question, this one question, and we learned 3 basic things. Read the question properly, look at the answers, and think about how you approach the question before you approach it. So can we all agree now that let's not go through the math and the detail to learn these things. It's too slow. Let's just learn the concepts of the basic. So if I say, let's learn to read the question properly, let's just learn to read the question properly. We don't need to go through and solve questions together to learn that. And why am I saying this? I'm saying this because most SAT tutoring, or when people think SAT practice, is just do problems, do problems. There's books online on thousands of SAT questions. We're not going to solve thousands of SAT questions. That's not the right way to study, or that's not the way that worked for me. Maybe it will not work for you. I'm suggesting a different way, which is you do one paper with so much depth that you extract so much learning that in one paper, in 100 questions, you have the same, if not more learning from that paper than somebody else. And to prove it, if you guys know, there's so many people from NPS, so many of you know Naman. Naman was my guinea pig. I tried this method on him. We did one paper. This is the paper that we're doing now. Is the only paper we did together. And at the end of it, he did the test the second time, and he got an 800 on math. So what I'm trying to pitch to you is, let's go through this and learn just the basics and practice the basics. So this will be a very different SAT class. Now, if you're still not convinced, I want to show you something really interesting. So hello, I'm back here. You guys can remove your applauds. You may have to applaud later again. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Okay, let me show you guys this thing. One second. All right, so this is
Listen, we found this product at $1.50 and sold it at $18, and we sold over 3,500.
Okay. All right, so this is a machine learning algorithm that is learning how to drive cars around a track. So you will see it keeps trying the same track over and over and over again, and it keeps learning from its previous mistakes. And then it gets further and further, and then it fails. Oh, we got one more, and then tries it again. And by the end of this, if we go all the way to the end, it keeps trying. A car eventually makes it out. They succeed. The car makes it out of the track, only by doing the same track again and again and again and again, and learning from its previous mistakes, and also the mistakes of the other people that are in this video. It learns from everybody's mistakes. It makes it out of the track and succeeds. So why do I show this? I show this because this is the process we're going to go through. We are 100+ people in this call. Together, we are going to make a lot of mistakes. And together, we are going to learn from everybody's mistakes so that we can be like that car, that together we make it out of this track. So we're not competing with each other. We are learning from each other. So we're going to embrace our mistakes. Second thing is, these cars do the same route again and again and again until they figure it out. Let me put it another way. What if I train a car and I give you 1,000 different maps and you draw the line the car should take in that map to escape? The moment the car gets the 1,001st track, the car will fail, right? It's only learned 1,000 maps. So the 1,001st map is not going to learn. So what is this car learning in this video? This is how a machine learns, right? The car is learning how to drive, how to get out of a track. It's not trying to memorize different tracks. So again, my pitch is we're not going to do 1,000 different SAT questions. We're going to learn how to solve an SAT question by learning again and again from a few questions. And by the end of it, it will be a slow start. You will fail a lot, just like the cars in this video. but you will make it out, and you will make it out on almost every single SAT question that you see. It will be far more effective. Again, Naman got 800 just after doing one paper with me. So that's my pitch. So, all right, I'm back here. Cool. So that's the first part. So we're not going to be the 1,000 people. What we're learning is the second approach. We just learn how to learn. That seems very cool. Okay. And if you're still not convinced, stick it through. You can see that something worked for me, right? I got good grades. Something worked for me. Something worked for Naman. He got 800. And I'm hoping some things will work for you. So stick it through. If this really does not work for you, then that's fine. It's okay. I'm not going to feel offended. All right. So the second thing I would like you to write in your Google Docs under postulates is what we're focusing on today. The rest of today is focused on that, which is find the root cause of your mistake. And this is a very, very important skill. You can use this skill not only in your SATs, but in every single exam that you do, in your ACTs, in your IBs, in your IGCSEs, in your subject tests, whatever exam you have to do. When you're preparing for it, we're going to practice a skill of finding the root cause of the mistake. So let's do a couple practice root causes. So you guys remember this. Hold on. Oh, sorry, don't answer this question. All right, you guys all remember this poll, right? Should we have the results come in for this poll from yesterday? Hopefully this time all of you guys will get it right. If you didn't get it right, reread the question, please. It looks like we have some new people in the call today. That's okay. All right, we have 84 responses, 90 responses, 97. Great, okay. So 98% of you, this is what it looks like. So we have some new people, that's okay. We embrace failing. Failing is awesome. So share results. This is what we have. So we learn from our mistakes, right? So should we go to the root cause? What's the root cause of this mistake? Can people actually, no, I'll just tell you what the root cause is. It's pretty obvious. The root cause of this mistake is you didn't read the question properly, or we didn't read the question properly, right? When the first time I was asked this question, I also said one. So the root cause is didn't read question properly. And many of you in your surveys at the end wrote down, you took away to read questions carefully. So we learned about not reading questions properly, yet somehow we got to this question that we just did before, and we forgot to read the question properly, right? So today's lesson, we're just going to take down the list of all the root causes, and starting from tomorrow's lesson, or maybe the day after, we will figure out how do we solve each root cause and take it out. And what you will notice is very rarely is the root cause, you just don't know the material. Like in this question we just did, you all know algebra. The root cause that you got it wrong is something different, if you got it wrong. And if you got it right, then maybe you could have done it in a faster way. Okay, so the first thing I want you to write, if you remember, in the screen I shared, I had math, remember? Under math, I want you all to write types of errors to catch. So you do enter, tab, put it in, and you put types of errors to catch. Now we are a lot of people in this call. We're gonna make a lot of different kinds of mistakes. So we're going to gather all of the errors that are potentially made by our classmates and write those down. So if you did not read the question properly, then under types of errors to catch, you put enter, next line, and you write, read questions carefully. And once if you have that, then you will know to focus on that. Now, again, from the next lesson onwards, we'll actually go and practice how to read questions properly. But today, we're just gathering the data, gathering the information. All right, let me share screen again. Let's look at another example. All right, you guys all remember this question from yesterday, right? So if you got this wrong, I want you to again figure out what's the root cause. So let's say you picked either of these two options. Then most probably what may have happened is you did the cross multiplication. So you did x plus 3 plus x plus 2 over x plus 2 times x plus 3, right? And then you got 2x plus 5. Sorry for my handwriting. I'll practice next time. Plus 5x plus 6. Okay? And what may have happened is you may have forgotten to do, sorry, you may have either picked this or picked this and picked this answer. So what do we call this type of error? Actually, there's one more thing you could have done. If you got this answer, or oops, sorry, not this one. If you got this answer, yes, then that means you looked at this fraction and you said, oh, perfect, this matches, then it's great. But you may have forgotten that we have the 1 over. So we have the 1 over here. That means this flips. Right? If this is too fast, then we're going to revisit this again in different questions. Don't worry. So if this happened to you, then I want you guys to write down algebra. This doesn't show up. Let's do punch. Algebra work mistake. And the mistake this is double fraction. Okay, and if you got this wrong, I want you guys to write down the number of this question. What's the number of this question? 3.1. Actually, yes, okay, so I'm using the test one at Khan Academy, question 3.13. This is the question. Now, I want you guys to just log down every time you make a certain mistake so that you can start gathering data on what are the kinds of mistakes that you made. And let's say you do the test and all your mistakes are double fraction mistakes, then you know to practice double fractions and make sure you get down double fractions before you take the SAT. So what's different in this? What's different in this is that this is not, you're not bad at fractions, you're not bad at algebra. You just, sometimes you may forget to plug back in your work into the actual question, right? From here to here, or double fraction. So that could be one issue. All right. So the second one I want you guys to write down is algebra work mistake. Cool. We also did yesterday this question. You guys remember this question? So this question, many of you, majority of you got this, but the correct answer was this one. Okay, but that's okay because you guys made a mistake, that's why we're learning. See, everybody so far that did not get any of these questions wrong, they're probably finding this call extremely boring right now because they're like, oh, I didn't get anything wrong. So if you guys made a mistake, then you should be happy, you should celebrate because we're learning here. If we go through this entire call and you make no mistakes, then that's almost an hour wasted. But luckily, we have our friends here and we can learn from our friends' mistakes, like the cars in the video. Okay, so what was the issue here? The issue probably, what happened to you was you did not read the question properly, which was P dollars, oops, what happens? P dollars includes an 8% sales tax. So the total amount she paid to the cashier is P, which includes sales tax. So therefore, paid is equal to P, but P includes tax. And so maybe that's the mistake that you made. Or what happened is you looked at this question. It was like, which of the following represents the price? And you're like, okay, well, she paid P and he was given a 20% discount, so times 0.8. And there was a 1%, 1.08 sales tax. So you did this. And then you did this equal to paid. But actually, paid includes sales tax. So that comes on the other side. So what do we call this type of mistake? We call this type of mistake, which is if you did not look at this part, then the type of mistake is did not read question clearly. So you put in misread question as your root cause. So the second type of mistake that you can try and catch is misread question. The other mistake you could have made is that they were asking for the original price. They were not asking for what was paid, right? So they were not asking for P. So what I like to call this is a two-part question, where in the first part, they're asking for what was paid, right? And in the second part, they're asking for what's the original price. And if this does not make sense, then you will also remember, if we go back here, this is also a two-part question. First, they want you to find A and B. Second, they want you to find C. So those of you that chose 3 and 5, chose 3 and 5 because you got the first part right, you just forgot to do the second part, which is extremely common. It's an extremely, extremely common mistake. So it's very important. If you got either of these questions wrong, then in your notes, you write down second part question error. And under second part question error, you write down 3.15. This question is the 15th question in Khan Academy SAT 1. We're going to go through it a lot more. We're going to do the first test together, so you'll become very familiar with these questions. But this is 3.15. If you also, yesterday, made a mistake on this one, then you should also put in question, what question is this? I forget what question this is. I will find out and tell you, unless somebody can. I will find out and tell you the number of this question, but you should write down, I'll tell you next class. We should write down another question. So if you got both of these mistakes incorrect, then today you just learned something new. Look out for second part questions. And that's 2 mistakes that you solved. Okay, should we keep going? Let's go into this test. Okay, but before we do this, I want to stop really briefly. Okay, we're doing a lot. So breathe. And I want to show you something really cool, which is I asked you guys all for feedback. And you gave me some really fun feedback, which I really appreciated. So I want to address some of it and make sure that you guys are happy. Oh, there's it. Oh, there it is. All right, share screen once more. Step 1, share. Oops, that's the wrong one. Okay, can you see my screen? Great. So thank you so much for all the positive feedback. I appreciate it. This is just like, I was doing this 5 minutes before the class, so I didn't get much. But 50 people said that learning about the application process from people who have been through it was very useful. So again, we're very thankful to our 3 panelists that joined, and I'm glad that you liked it. So this made me very happy. And I really enjoyed actually also looking to your feedback on things that you were expecting. So thank you so much for giving me that. So somebody said I was expecting more SAT practice questions. So I put this here not to call you out. I'm saying I really appreciate this. This also helps me understand how you're thinking so I can talk about these points. This class will be different. We're not going to do many questions. We're going to do one paper in good depth, learn from these mistakes, and then hopefully you'll be able to apply in your next class. So thank you again so much for giving me this so that I can then address it. You guys wanted the class to pick up pace. I will try and go faster. We're going to try and do a little bit more questions as we go through the mistakes, but trust me, like we did in question 15, which you probably enjoyed going through that question and figuring out faster ways to do it, we're going to pick up the pace a lot more as we go up. And initially, we're going to go a little slower and really pick out the mistakes that we can make. And once we have the list of all the mistakes, then it's just practice. We just keep practicing reading the questions. We keep practicing second part questions. We keep practicing double fractions or nested fractions, and then we get better. So that's where the practice will come. So the practice is coming, the math is coming. Please hang around. And this was my favorite. This comment was hilarious, that you got a pause when I said I'll go in much more depth. So hopefully your pause is a little less now that I've sort of explained to you what is the benefit of going through this. So thank you again for this. I will remove that. And let's get back to mathematics. So let's go and fix this. All right, let me share my screen once more. And when we have, we'll start having participation also. So right now I am guessing what your mistakes are, but very quickly we'll start participating and sharing mistakes. Again, we're a cohort, we're now a community, okay? We're all working together. Like those cars, we are all trying to get out of the same route. If one of us figures it out, we all figure it out, so we're together. So let's go through this. We have 15 minutes, we're gonna try and get through as many questions as possible. Double fractions, we have another question here. Oh, that's right. No, it's September. Okay, we've already done this one, 3.1. 3.7, let's go to this one, 3.17. All right, I want you to solve this question. This does not fit on one page. Okay. All right, this question should be pretty easy. I want you to solve this question. Now I'm letting you know this is a double fraction question, like a fraction question. So let me start the poll once more. All right, poll started. We're doing question 7. Question 7, please. Okay, you guys should be getting the answers now. It's taking. All right, 4, we're gonna stop it soon. 4, 3, 2, 1, and pull. Okay, sorry if you guys couldn't get the answer in. All right, so there are some of you that got this answer, and there are many of you that got this answer. Actually, answers were all over the board, but what are they asking for here? They're asking for P in terms of M, R, and N. So that means that we want P on this side, and we want M on this side, right? So what happens, so now if you did this, if you got this answer, then again, you may have made a fraction mistake, which is you got the P on this side, but the M on this side, but you forgot that when you take P on this side, you do 1 over P. And if you got M on this side, you forgot that you have to do 1 over M here, 1 over P here. And so you flip the entire thing. So that's why this entire fraction gets flipped. So this is, again, a fraction mistake. So if you made this error, then you put in question 3.7 under algebra error, algebra work mistake, sorry, fractions. Right, like working with fractions. Actually, I like this term better. Algebra work mistake, working with fraction. Okay, so that's the gap. So that's the question. All right, next question. Let's go to. This is a very fun question. All right, I will relaunch poll 2. I'm sorry, I'm not sharing results again. All right, let's do this one. I'm not going to give you more than a minute. We've already 30 seconds have gone through. We have 30 more seconds. All right, 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Okay. So the again for this one, how do we do this? We do 7 minus 8, 7 minus 8, plus 3i plus 9i. So 7 minus 8 is -1 plus 12i. So the answer is -1 plus 12i. Let me double check. Make sure I didn't make a mistake. Yep, -1 plus 12i. So why do I like this question? I like this question because it's so simple, but look what the SAT folks have done. You guys know algebra, you guys know addition and subtraction, but they've just messed you up. If you made the mistake, they've just tricked you with a negative sign. So if you got this answer, if you got -6i, you did 3i minus 9i, but there's no minus, it's a plus here, right? If you got 15, you did 7 plus 8, but it's -8. And if you got 12i, well, that's right. And again, if you got 6i, then again, you did 3i minus 9i. Oh, we've already written this down. So such a simple question. This is how the SAT is. The SAT is not, the SAT is just this. We have to find out what the root cause is. So I'm going back. Our root cause analysis for this will be algebra mistake working with negatives. All right, if we work with negatives, we can make errors. So if you are prone to this kind of mistakes, which some of you were, and for all of those of you which got this right, I want you to still write down under your notes, under types of errors to catch, I want you to write down working with negatives and algebra mistake. In case in the future, what we're doing is building a repository of possible mistakes that you made. And what will happen is when you leave this call, when this entire session is done, you do your own practice test. You do the practice test, you pull up this repository and you match. When you made a mistake, what was the root cause? And then you keep a tally so you know what to work on. And if your root cause is not in that repository, add it in. So that's what we're practicing today. All right, let's do the next one, 3.5. Let's do this one again. All right. Let's get started. I will relaunch the poll. Again, I'm not showing the answers, I'm sorry. You guys have 20 more seconds. Also, I hope you guys are responding to the people reaching out to you on Zoom one-on-one to change your name and provide us your student email addresses. Tomorrow, there will be a passcode to this class, which will be emailed out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 4. All right. So some of you are making mistakes here. More of you made mistakes on this one. And you will notice this comes down back to the same thing. This is, again, negatives. So what is this? This is x squared y minus, from this one, another minus x squared y. So this becomes 2x squared y. Then we have negative 3y squared minus from this minus here, minus another 3y squared. So this becomes a plus, so this cancels out. Then we have 5xy squared minus, again, from this minus, another minus 3y squared. So this becomes 2xy squared. So the answer is 2x squared y plus 2xy squared. So if you made a mistake in this, again, you have fallen trap to working with negatives. So I want you guys to write down algebra work mistake, working with negatives. And more of you actually got this wrong. So again, this is why it's important. Even if you didn't get it wrong the first time, and if you also didn't get it wrong the second time, still write down this as a potential mistake to keep an eye out for it in case you make it, right? Because all of these other answers, or not this is the right answer. All these other answers stem from negative errors. This is what the SAT is. Working on the SAT, if you guys take away something from today, and if you don't join any other call, I want you to just do this. Every time you get something wrong, dig deep to the bottom of the question. Like, what is the reason you got it wrong? And write it down and be aware. Don't look at this and be like, oh, I am not good with x squareds and algebra. That's not true. All right, we have more time. Let's keep going. Next one. Let's do this one. This one should be good. 417. All right, this is the question. We're going to do question 17. I'm going to launch the poll. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going to use the raise hand feature for this one. I would love to hear from somebody that put C. If you put C, can you please raise your hand? All right, Stuti, thank you for being the first one. I will invite you to speak. You don't have to start your video, but I will invite you to speak. Okay, Stuti, could you tell us, thank you so much for being brave and coming out. Could you tell us what you did for this?
So since it says for what value of x is the value of f of x at its minimum, and the graph shows y is equal to f of x.
Yeah.
So you need so you know that f of x is the values that have been plotted.
Yeah.
So and each of the small square is like 1 point each, like one. Yeah. And so what you do is the lowest it goes is when it's at -2 in like the third quadrant of the graph.
We have this one, and this one. So that's that's -1. Okay, so so actually it's -3, right? Because there would be
it's -3, but I chose -2 because I got confused with the y value.
Got it. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Oh, okay. You got this -2.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you so much. You're so brave for coming up. Thank you so much. I know I just called you up and pointed out a mistake for you. So, but I wanted to thank you a lot because of you, there's 112 other people that learned something. Okay. So, guys, I'm going to open up the chat again. I want you all to please put in thank you for Stuti. And Stuti, you are an A+ person for willing to come up. Hold on, let me turn on the chat. Where is it? Guys, can anybody else turn on chat? I think I have to stop sharing. Okay, I changed to everyone publicly. So Stuti, thank you so much. And folks, I would appreciate if everybody can have the bravery for also doing this. We're going to do this a lot more. I will call on people and I will ask you what the mistake was so we can figure out together what the mistake is. Look at that, Stuti. So many people are saying thank you. Remember, say thank you for why also, so we can learn the catch. Because what we're doing is getting into the mindset of the test taker. So the right answer was -3. If you got something else, then if you got 3, maybe you forgot the negative. If you got -5, then I think you may have just found for the smallest number. And if you got -3, then good job. So thank you so much, Stuti, for doing that. As we go along, I will want to get to know you. So the more people that can be brave and come up, I will get to know you, so that you will forever be my best friend for being the first person to come up. And I know I just called you out, but I really appreciate you. And look at that, the audience also loves it. So thank you so much. We are at time. We're 1 minute over. I'm sorry. I will let you all leave and send you out with some nice Ed Sheeran. And we will continue this tomorrow.